Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyat Virada Vaktradhyah Parishadhyah Parasatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhishma Drona Tata Jayatratha Chala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalya Grahavati Krupena Vahini Karnena Velakula Assattama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Kalu Pandavai Rananadi Kaivartaha Kesavaha Kaivartakaha Kesavaha. With Bhagavan's grace, we concluded the fifth adhyayam. Bhagavan says, I'm started speaking in Tamil, sorry. Bhagavan says, you do one thing, my dear Arjuna. Do not be attached to the external objects, the connections, the touching of the external object. Give it up. Keep that far away. Not only that, put your vision, place your vision right in the midst of your eyebrows, and then watch the beauty of your inhaling breath that's coming in and the breath that's going out, the exhaling breath. Both those, how each one dissolves in the other and how both of them are really one and the same. And enjoy that. And then pull your senses, pull your mind and intellect, the intelligence inwards, control them. And not only that, doing all this, seek and be committed to embracing the indweller. Be committed to that. Be disciplined in that. And with that attitude, what will happen to you when you take that attitude? Automatically, desire, fear, and anger will leave you. You will be without desire, fear, and anger. And with Shraddha, with the committed and disciplined in this practice, engage yourself in that. Then you become a mukta. You become really free. Then what happens to you when you are free? What really happens? Then you really begin to see that all the actions that you do, all the offerings that you do, all the offerings that are automatically taking place, whether you do them or not. Every time I inhale breath, I automatically exhale. Every time I take food, I have to automatically get rid of it. So this is a natural process that's going in there. Then you will enjoy that this yajna is, who's the enjoyer of this? You begin to realize and seek that enjoyer. Who is this that actually making all this happen? Not only that, all the disciplines that you engage yourself in, all the purification processes, all the desires that you have that I must purify myself, I must reduce my anger, I must give up my selfishness, whatever purification process that goes on in your mind, and the process of purification, the impulse to purify, and the place at which they get purified, all these, who's actually enjoying all this, then you'll realize that person, that entity is the Sarvaloka Maheswaram. He is the Lord of the Prapancham. All the lokas there is, he is the Isvara, he is the Lord. And not only that he is the Lord, he is not a master in the sense of being a dictator. No, he is your best friend. Not only your best friend, he's the best friend of all the beings in all the lokas, in the whole of Prapancham. And that person, that entity, know that to be me. The moment you experience that, then what happens? You become peaceful. That is why Bhagavan concludes that. Let us do a review with His grace of the whole adhyayam. Arjuna did not need the review. He was going on. But for people like us, probably the way we've been taught and we have taken our education, review I think would be useful. And pay very close attention, because Bhagavan will teach you and put whatever is important to you in your mind and heart. Panchamodhyayaha. Atha Panchamodhyayaha. Thus the chapter number 5. Embracing divinity through renunciation. Now, renunciation is not an action. You do not renounce things. Renunciation is a result of some other action that you do. That happens Sanyasam. That is when you put your mind at the Lord's lotus feet automatically. That is the action. The result is Sanyasam. The result is renunciation. Embracing divinity through renunciation. Sanyasa Yoga. Arjuna said, Krishna, you praise both giving up action and also embracing action. Among these two, which one is really superior? Decide this carefully and tell me. Sri Bhagavan said, giving up of action as well as embracing it, both have the capacity for benefits. Among these two, doing action is better than not doing it. He who neither hates nor desires, my dear mighty-shouldered Arjuna, is to be understood as an eternal renunciant. Having freed himself from the attraction of the opposites, he very easily frees himself from the bondage of action. It is the amateurs, not the scholars, who describe knowledge and action as different. He who establishes himself firmly in any one of these two gets the benefits of both. The final state of awareness attained by the enquirers of knowledge is attained by the practitioners of selfless action also. Knowledge is the same as embracing divinity in action. He who realizes this has indeed realized. O mighty-shouldered Arjuna, without doing action and embracing divinity while doing so, it is very difficult to give up the awareness, I am the doer. But embracing action as divinity itself and becoming skilled at this embrace, one rises to the awareness of Brahman promptly. With mind purified and focused on divinity, with body and senses well controlled, he does his actions, attaching himself to the one spirit that motivates him and all beings. Although he undertakes actions, he is not touched by them. The wise, mentally holding on to the indweller and doing actions like seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, dreaming and breathing, must think, I am not the doer. He must be firm in the conviction that all actions such as speaking, detaching from, attaching to, keeping awake or sleeping, etc., take place because the senses go after their respective sense objects. He who does his actions giving up the mental lock, I am the doer, who does not desire results and who offers all actions to the indweller, is not touched by sin. In the same way, the lotus leaf is not touched by water. People who do their actions embracing the indweller purify their mental impulses. Whatever actions they do with their body, mind, intelligence, or the senses, they do without attachment to the actions, results, or to the feeling, I am the doer. He who practices the discipline of doing action as selfless sacrifice, and who discards the desire for results from actions, attains peace progressively as his discipline progresses. On the other hand, the person without this discipline is impelled by desire for the results of action and gets bound by action. Controlling the senses and mentally giving up attachment to all actions, the indweller resides happily in this body that has 9 doors, neither doing action nor causing action. In this world, God has not created the doers or the deeds or the connection between the two. It is only nature that makes these happen. The ruler of this world receives neither the merits nor the demerits of anyone. Ignorance wields the innate wisdom, confuses and dilutes all beings. But for those whose ignorance has been eliminated by their knowledge of the self, their knowledge reveals the shining self itself. Focusing only on that knowledge, embracing that to be one's own self, established on that, and taking that to be one's sole refuge, they are removed from all misfortunes and attain the birthless state. Those who have this knowledge revealed to them, they are the Panditas. For them, the learned and humble indweller-seeking Brahmanas, cows, elephants, dogs, and dog-eaters all appear the same. Brahman, the indweller, is the same and is without the blemish of differences, isn't it? Those who place their mind in this oneness become one with it. Thereby, they fulfill the purpose of their birth in this life itself. Aware of the knowledge of the self and firmly established in it without any delusion, the Brahmajnani feels neither happiness in coming across the pleasant nor sadness in encountering the unpleasant. Attaching to the indweller and thereby detaching from the contacts of the external objects, he enjoys the never-decreasing bliss of the indweller. My dear son of Kunti, whatever pleasures and enjoyments that contacts with external sense objects give, they all are the birthplace of misery and sadness. They all have a beginning and an end. The wise person does not derive happiness from them. Before discarding his body, he who controls firmly the mental impulse that generates desire and anger gets established with divinity. He indeed is the peaceful one. He who has embraced the peace and the ecstatic bliss of the indweller shines in its effulgence. He is the yogi indeed. Even while living in the body, he is able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and becomes one with it. Those whose sins and doubts have ended, whose senses are under control, and who always seek the welfare of all beings are rishis. They are able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and become one with it. Embracing the indweller, the renunciants control their mental impulses and are free of desire and anger. They are able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and become one with it. He is ever free who keeps away the contact with the external sense objects, focuses his vision at the center of his eyebrows, experiences the balance in the incoming and outgoing breaths moving through his nostrils, keeps the senses, mind, and intelligence under control, seeks to embrace the indweller, is devoid of desire, fear, and anger, and meditates on the indweller. Knowing me as the enjoyer of all penances and sacrifices, as the Lord of all worlds, as the true friend of all beings, he attains peace. Panchamodhyaya Sanyasa Yogaha. Arjuna Uvacha. Sanyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha samsasi yast shreya yetayoho ekam tanme bruhi sunischitam. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Sanyasaha karmayogascha nisreya sakarabhubhav. Tamostayostu karma sanyasat karmayogo visishyate. Nyeyaha sa nitya sanyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati. Nirdadvanto hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Sankhya yogau prutak balaha pravadanti na panditaha. Ekam api astitaha samya gubayoho vindate phalam.
सांख्यैहि प्राप्यते स्थानं तद योगैहि अपि गम्यते एकं सांख्यं च योगं च यः पश्यति स पश्यति सन्यासस्तु महाबाहो दुःखम् आप्तुम् अयोगतः योगयुक्तो मुनिर्ब्रह्म न चिरेण अधिगच्छति योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन् अपि न लिप्यते नैव किंचित् करोमि इति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यत् शृण्वन् स्पृश्य सञ्चि घ्रन् अस्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् अस्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन् अपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन् ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रम् इवाम्बसा कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैः इन्द्रियैः अपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति संगं त्यक्त्वा आत्मशुद्धये युक्तः कर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिम् आप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम् अयुक्तः कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वसि नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन् न कारयन् न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलं संयोहं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेन आवृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः ज्ञानेन तु तद् अज्ञानं येषां नासितम् आत्मनः तेषाम् आदित्यव अज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम् तद्बुद्धय तदात्मान तन्निष्ठाः तत्परायणाः गच्छन्ति अपुनराः आवृत्तिं ज्ञान निर्धूत कल्मषाः विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गवि हस्तिनि सुनिचैव स्वपाके च पंडिताः समदर्शिनः इहैव तैर्चितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिताः न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य न प्रहृष्येत् अप्रियं प्राप्य न उद्विचेत् प्राप्य च अप्रियं स्थितबुद्धिः सम्मूढः ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः बाह्य स्पर्शेषु असक्तात्मा विन्दति आत्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्मयोग युक्तात्मा सुखम् अक्षय्यम् अश्नुते ये हि संसपर्शजा योगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः शक्नोति हि एव यः सोढुं प्राक् शरीर विमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तः सुखो अन्तरारामः तथा अन्तर्ज्योतिः एव यः स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतो अधिगच्छति लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नैद्वद यतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोधं वियुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसाम् अभितो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनां स्पर्शं कृत्वा बहिः बाह्यां च चक्षुः च अन्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रिय मनोबुद्धिः मुनिः मोक्षपरायणः विगत इच्छा भय क्रोधः यः सदा मुक्त एव सः भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृतं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिं पृच्छति इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे सन्न्यासयोगो नाम 5मोऽध्यायः।